I'm going to speak on, in respect to me as a Rasta woman, with children, and in terms of where we are, in terms of the consciousness of our people, and the whole social environment and the spiritual environment that affects us as a people at this time and our children. For example, what should be highlighted is the prejudice that still exists because you're different, or because you're treading a path that you're more in tune with Rastafari, which is being in tune with African consciousness and African liberation, and being more aware of who you are and where you're from, and being more conscious of the present system that is not in balance with who we truly are, because the system is still colonial. Our children are not educated about self. They don't know who they truly are, the greatness of our people. They're taught slave history. They're taught that all these people were in grass skirts running up and down, and they were in Africa, and these Europeans came and they took them, and here is the history now of the Caribbean.
How do you feel as a mother kind of in the environment where you're trying to teach your children certain things, but that support's not there in society? Society like totally different from what you tell them.
Yeah, it's a struggle, because children are very, respectful of their teacher in the Jamaican system, sometimes even fearful, based on our educational system. So as a Rasta mother, who we have to teach our children to be more well-rounded, we can't just teach them what the colonial masters educational system has set down for us and say, oh, this is how it is, because that is for control. That is to prepare them to work for them. A lot of times the educational system does not even prepare them to be their own boss, or to manage, to be their own, to be entrepreneurs. It prepares them to join the workforce. Exactly. So what happened now is one of the huge flaws. Now, I have 4 children, so I've gone through the curriculum several times and nothing changed. My oldest daughter is 25, my youngest is 11. I see nothing changing. I myself loved Caribbean history, but my history teacher used to tell us, Mrs. Cunningham at Excelsior High School, she said, read through the lines. And she always said we must always read in between the lines with history. And so what we do now, we teach our own children about their African history, their African culture, the greatness of Africa, that Africa was the greatest civilization before all these other civilizations. My child, who is Rasta, is still discriminated against in school. Because, for example, why is it that a Rasta youth have to wear a hat?
To this day?
Of course, there are many schools, the government schools in Jamaica. You have to wear a hat, and my son was actually taken out of class because, and this is a prep school now,
You have to pay for this, it's not free, right?
No, the prep school you have to pay for, but I'm telling you now, primary schools, the youth have to wear a hat. Most primary schools in Jamaica. If it's a boy child, he have to cover his crown or he gets in trouble. If it's a girl child, it have to be neatly kept and groomed or she will get in trouble as well. My son was pretty much denied going into class. My little, at the time, he was 8 years old. You can imagine that kind of traumatic, demeaning effect that have on a child.
And the self-worth and stuff.
Exactly, because just because he forget his hat I went down to the principal's office and I said, look here, let me tell you something. You better put my child right back in class. Because if a child leaves his tie, do you keep him out of class? So what's the problem with my son's crown? It's clean. And why do you have a problem with him? Because he left his hat. You call me as a parent and you tell me that, oh, you know, Miss so-and-so or Mrs. so-and-so, could you please bring your son's hat or he left his hat? I say if a child leave his tie, you don't keep him out of class. Why would you be keeping my child out of class just because he left his hat? I also went to Andrew Holness when he was Minister of Education. And I said, why do you have our Rasta boys having to wear hats to school? What's your issue? There should not, you know, it's a kind of discrimination in this heat, this sun hot in Jamaica, where more time, you know, a child's playing ball or they're doing this or they're doing that, they're sweaty. You know, why you have a problem with this? So that is an issue, and that is that is as a result of the colonialism, which is, you know, yes, which is that, you know, the colonial system wanting to control the slave on all levels. You get what I'm saying? So you let him wear the clothes you want him to wear, and you let him have to shave his head a certain kind of way, or him have to cut his hair, or he has to act a certain kind of way, or attire a certain kind of way. The system is still perpetuating that kind of behavior. The next thing now is the spirituality now. Now, remember, Christianity is the white man's idea of religion at this time, even though we know that Christianity is also derived from the ancient cultures. We know that Christianity was taken from the ancient cultures and what they do, because remember, you know, in order to trick a people, you know, you have to mix lie with truth. And so they do mix some truth in it, but they mix in the lie. And so Christianity is really brainwash to enslave you, for you to see God outside of yourself and to think that, oh, this God is a blonde hair, blue eye God, and you are nothing like that, because hey, you're either black or you're brown skin like myself, which black or brown, we are all one people, you know, as African people. But this European concept of God is still forced down our children's throat.
Thank you so much for watching I Never Knew TV.
Please subscribe, comment, yay!